What's up? So today I want to talk about crop sensors. What the difference is between a camera with a crop sensor and a camera with a full frame sensor. What that means to you, and if you should spend a little bit more money and get a full frame, or if a crop sensor is the right one for you. Let's get into it. Alright, so for this video I'm going to be filming today on two cameras. This one right here, which is a Canon EOS M50. It is a cropped sensor. It's 1.6 on the sensor. And this one right here, which is my Sony A7 II, full frame sensor. And just so you know right off the bat, both these right now are at 28 millimeters. And you can probably see quite a big difference. This one's going to be much more cropped in. You're getting a lot less information on the sides. And then this one, you're getting a lot more. It's a lot more information on the sides. I'm a little bit smaller in picture, and the depth of field is quite a bit different as well. Now, unfortunately, the setting that I'm in right now is just my room. Not the greatest setting in here. Not a lot of interesting things to look at, but you can still see the difference between the crop sensor and the full frame sensor. I also took some pictures I'm going to show you right now, the difference between cropped and full frame. And you'll notice that not only is you're basically zoomed in, even though that's not the exact correct term, but it looks zoomed in, the depth of field is different. The way all the other items around the main subject is, they're perceived differently. This because the way that the sensor is, for lack of a better term, zooming in, it's as if you were to take 28 millimeter on the crop sensor and times that by 1.6, that's going to be putting you closer to 50 millimeter. Whereas on the full frame camera, it's just a standard 28 millimeter. So if you have a camera with zoom on it, find an item, zoom in, and take a picture. And then zoom out and walk closer to that same item until you get relatively as close as you were zoomed in. Take the same picture, and then look at all the other subject matters around that main subject in the picture, and you'll see a big difference in how they all look. That's kind of how a crop sensor works. It's not the greatest way to explain it. There's a lot of other videos on YouTube that can go much more in depth into the scientific differences between crop sensor and full frame. I just don't have that knowledge myself, but I know the difference between what they look like when you have this picture, that picture, this video, that video, and when you're using the two of them, huge difference. I have another video I want to show you really quick. So one of the tests I want to try really quick is, there's a mirror directly behind my head. This is on the Canon M50 with the crop sensor. You don't really see the mirror that much. You kind of see the door over here, see almost the end of the door over here, but not completely. And this is what it looks like with a crop sensor at 28 millimeters. Now let's check it out with the full frame. All right, so now I'm standing in the exact same spot. You probably see more of the mirror. You see more of the doors on both sides, 28 millimeters, but on a full frame sensor. Apologies for the shaky footage, but just wanted to show you how much more you see on a full frame sensor. Exact same spot. Not only is it that you're seeing more, but the depth of field is different. You're seeing more closer to my head, the information here, the door, the mirror, whereas before it's kind of more like this. So yeah, it's quite a big difference. So something else I want to show you really quick. This is what a full frame sensor looks like. Kind of hard to tell, see it in there, but it's quite big. Full frame sensor is not a small sensor. And this is a cropped sensor. It's quite a bit smaller. You notice that it's significantly smaller when you compare it to what the full frame sensor was. The full frame sensor goes roughly from about here, almost to about here, almost the whole size of the ring actually. So I mean, you're getting quite a bit difference between the two of them, and that's part of why your image is cropped, why it is a smaller image on a cropped sensor. So for me personally, the difference between a crop sensor and a full frame sensor is pretty big, it's pretty drastic. But that doesn't mean that the crop sensor is the wrong camera for you. For instance, if you're going to be doing any sort of macro work, insects or jewelry or anything like that, crop sensor can actually be kind of nice because it's kind of cheating, for lack of a better term. You're kind of zooming in closer to the subject already. You're getting a little advantage on whatever it is you're taking a picture of before you even get a macro lens. So that kind of helps out quite a bit. Also, if you're going to be doing any sort of like a animal photography, bird photography, and you're not going to be very close to it, crop sensor is kind of nice because it's kind of whatever lens you have, you times it by 1.6, and that's kind of zoomed in a little bit, for lack of a better term. But at the same time, if you want to do any sort of nice wide angle shots, a wedding shot or live music or something, and you want more information, more out on the sides, full frame is really gonna benefit you quite a bit more because you're just getting so much more information on the sides and on the top and bottom. Which is part of the reason why some people get mad when, for instance, Canon comes out with the EOS R $3,000 camera, but when you film in 4K you get a cropped sensor, and it's I think it's 1.7 on that crop. It's quite zoomed in, quite cropped. That's kind of why some people get mad when you don't have the option to have cropped or not cropped. Now on the newer Sony a7 III, you have a mode that you can activate whenever you want. It's called Super 35. It's not exactly like cropping it in, but it's kind of similar to that, and you can turn it on or off, and people like it because you have the option. That's the difference between cropped and non-cropped. It's just kind of zoomed in and changes your depth of field. But something else I want to show you as well. So I'm going to bring everything in right now on the full frame camera. I'm going to bring it all in. That way you can see how much information you're losing. Instead of just jumping between the two cameras, just on this one, bring it all in. You're losing all the information on the sides. The edge of the door might be gone. If the edge of the closet frame might be gone. Again, not the greatest setting in here, but you can see the difference. Now, also on a crop sensor, you would be changing your depth of field a little bit, but just to show you the difference, this is what it would look like if this lens was cropped, and then bringing it back out, you're getting all that information back again. You're getting all the edges, which would be really good for wide angle wedding photography or live music or just anything really. You're losing all of that on a crop sensor. But on the flip side, crop sensors are quite a bit cheaper. The M50 I think you can pick up for around $600, $700. All the Sony Alpha line from like the A6000, A6300, so on and so on, those are all going to be between $500 and $1,000. They're cheaper cameras, which isn't a bad thing. So it just really depends on what you're looking to do. Personally, I prefer full frame, but this camera right here, the EOS M50, this is one of my favorite cameras that I've ever played with, and it is a crop sensor. So it's really just kind of opinion, but in my opinion, I prefer full frame. So hopefully this video helped you in some, give you a little bit more knowledge between the difference between a crop sensor and a full frame if you weren't aware what the difference is and how they affect your images. And if you liked the video, hit like, hit subscribe. Got a lot more videos coming out soon. Currently trying to hit 500 subscribers, so you can help me get there. Have a good one.